can you talk to us about that? Supplements.
Okay.
For sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
Your own professional opinion.
Yeah. My own professional opinion is no child needs melatonin.
Okay.
Oh, you talked about Go ahead. Sorry.
No child needs it.
Yeah.
Any child that is exposed to the sun at all throughout the day can get it supplied to them naturally in their own body.
You get it by the sun?
Yep. It's
What?
a hormone.
I thought it was vitamin D from the sun.
It's a hormone that your brain produces when it's exposed to sunlight. So it sets your natural circadian rhythm into cycle. So when the best way to produce it is early morning sun and evening sun. So if you can get them outside for a couple minutes in the morning and then in the evening, like get them to play either before or after dinner. The summer's so easy. You can play after dinner and get a little extra energy out. They will produce enough melatonin to get them to bed.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Little Brain Campaign.
We're your hosts. I'm Jessica Eisenstadt, a licensed professional counselor, passionate about supporting kids with exceptionalities and behavioral challenges.
And I'm Lauren LaRose, a child and adolescent psychiatrist who loves diving into all things child and adolescent mental health.
Each week, we'll chat about our personal and professional experience as it relates to childhood development.
Plus, we'll bring on a guest to share their insights and experiences on important topics.
Join us for a lively discussion, expert interviews, and a lot of laughs. Let's get started. Hello, big brains. Thanks for joining us. We are your hosts, Jessica
and Lauren.
And today we have the pleasure of talking with Elizabeth Zarzour. She is a certified pediatric sleep consultant and a newborn care specialist and a speech language pathologist. She owns a company named EZ Sleep Training, which provides parents with personalized individual sleep training programs for kids as early as like just home from the hospital. Yep. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Why sleep? Why now?
Why sleep? Why now? Well, it all started with my firstborn. He did not sleep and read a little book called Moms on Call, which gave me massive amounts of anxiety.
Loved it. Oh, it did?
Hated it.
Oh, my God. It grounded me.
Look, so here's what I tell people. If you can use it as like a loose guideline, and I was like, putting a 2-week-old in a schedule, I was like, but he can't eat until 7. Like, I didn't know I had raging postpartum anxiety.
Right.
And was like, oh my God, he won't sleep, whatever. So if you can use it as a guideline, it's great. Yeah. But if you are trying to put a 2-week-old in a schedule, you will fail. And I just felt like I was failing all the time. So I was like, there has to be a better way. So I did tons of research and figured out a way that was a little more flexible. I need to know, just like from having my master's and knowing a lot about kids, I need to know, like, if I do it this way, it will still be okay. So I did all this research and was like, okay, there are different ways to do it, which ends in the same result, which is your kid sleeping through the night.
Right.
So after doing all that research, and then all 3 of my kids have milk protein intolerance.
What is that?
It's essentially like colic. I mean, so
I don't understand that shit. What is colic?
So there's no definition, but a lot of milk protein intolerant babies, meaning they're intolerant.
So like
no, so it's the protein in milk. Lactose is the sugar. The protein is, so basically they can't have any cow's milk formula, or if you're nursing, you can't have any dairy. But
so
typically,
what's NeoSure?
So yeah, that would be a
that's what
formula you could use for a milk protein intolerant baby.
Oh, wait, and whatever.
But if you're nursing, you also can't have soy, because a lot of milk protein intolerant babies are also reactive to soy protein. So like essentially nursing is impossible.
Yeah.
I have friends that have done it. You can do it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they all had reflux and all these things. And so I was like, I just need to know everything about everything.
Put your mic a little closer to your bib.
Okay. I didn't know if I was allowed to touch it.
Oh my God. Jeez.
It's also technical here. Anyway, and so I was like, okay, I need to help this kid. Yeah. And so I ended up doing all this research and helping tons of friends and family over the last couple of years. My oldest is now 7. And then I was like, you know what? This is what I really love to do. So I'm going to start a company and start helping parents everywhere, not just my friends, not just my family.
Awesome.
Yeah. So good.
And it's just been so much fun. I get high every time I get a text the next morning of like, they slept through the night. This is magic. I'm like, it's not magic. It's just
it just works.
You need the puzzle pieces to all be there, and then they fall into place, and it works. So
don't you love that? You just get so horny when it works.
It's so
you
great.
Just do. I mean, I personally, so I am the person who like, I need a guide, like personally,
Same.
like, but I don't get overwhelmed. Like I don't have this like standard if it deviates.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the mom's on call thing worked for me.
Yeah.
But Rhodes, my son, I reached out to Elizabeth, I don't know, it was probably 6-8 months ago or something. And he just went into this wild sleep regression. I mean, this little boy was just throwing shit all over the place, like banging on the door, like leaving the room, the little doorknob thing, like didn't work. And he would just get up, scream, either come down. No one was sleeping. Anyways, and it lasted probably 2 weeks. And I was like, no, ma'am, Pam, can't do it. I'm going to lose my shit. And so maybe you were on Instagram at the time. I don't remember.
Yeah. When I started the company, I launched on Instagram and a website at the same time.
Yes. And so I was like, yo, hey, sis.
Yeah.
Help me out. Like, give me something.
Yeah.
And so, this was a very, like, what's the word? I mean, detailed, obviously, but it was just very tailored to us. And she gathered, like, very important information, background stuff. And there were like 2 or 3 different like tiered plans within the plan. And
approaches, if you will.
Approaches. Yeah. Hold on. And in 7 days, I don't even know if it took that long.
Yeah.
I mean, that little turd slept through the night. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do you have like a protocol, or is it like really just specific to that child and that family?
There's definitely a protocol. There really are only 4 ways to sleep train a kid. Like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. Right. I'm just taking little bits of 2 of the main ones, which are, they have different names. I don't do cry it out, and I don't do like gentle, no cry. I don't.
Okay.
So it's
like the pickup. What is it called?
Pick up, put down, gentle, no cry is like on the lower end of the spectrum. And then the cry it out extinction model. I don't do that either. I think.
Why not?
I just, mostly because, it's not because it doesn't work. It does, but usually parents use that when they're like at their wits' end.
Yeah.
And like I said, there needs to be all the puzzle pieces in place. Like, you can let a baby cry and just close the door and leave. But typically if you're doing that, you are so done and you're missing a lot of what they need to be successful to actually cry. I'm going to go to sleep.
Okay. So this is not I do not agree with corporal punishment. And it's kind of like when are you spanking your kid? Are you spanking your kid when you're like at 100?
Right.
Right? Or are we coming from, like, where is it coming from?
Right.
Like, where is this solution coming from?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's like, sounds like it's similar to that cry out.
And so, even if I give a parent that plan, that's not a plan. That's just close the door. And we're not looking at any root causes of what's going on. I send every family I work with an intake form. I sent you one.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at diet, schedule.
Yeah.
I'm looking at temperament. I'm looking at what have you tried before and what worked, what didn't. And so that's where it all comes into the plan. And I can go, oh, well, that's missing. And we need to add that. Does it keep falling?
No, it's just like you're kind of going like,
okay. I move my hands a lot when I talk.
No, it's great. Wait, do you, I don't give a shit. I'm like, here's what I did, right or wrong, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think parents are like honest when they fill that out?
So I always tell people, I want you to tell me what you're embarrassed to tell me, because usually that's what I need to address.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, tell me if you are in bed with your 15-month-old nursing them all night long to sleep. Like, I need to know that. Don't, if you omit that, I can't, and I have no problem if you want to nurse your 15-month-old. The problem is when you're doing it to get them to sleep still and you want to change that.
It's like an external soother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, and again, like, and I always tell parents come up to me and they're like, oh, like, I still take a nap with my 2-year-old. And I'm like, cool. Like, if it works for you, cool. When you have a problem with your child sleeping, don't know how to fix it or how to get out of it, that's where I come in.
When do you know that there's a problem, I guess? Like, is there like a theme and like point of issue, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gone 3 weeks and this is when, or
okay, like a regression, you mean?
I guess, or like parent tolerance to the issue.
I mean, yeah, it's parent tolerance to the issue. Some people want to sleep with their kid all night long, up to the like. I mean, I'll refer to y'all on developmental issues of that, but I could never do that. Like, that's a hard line in my house, a hard boundary.
Yeah.
You don't sleep in mom's bed. Like, I put you back to your bed every night. And I started them up as babies, and they love their beds. Like, it's their happy place.
Sanctuary.
Yeah. And like, we treat it like that. But it's only, if a parent has a problem with their kid sleeping, be it a baby that's not sleeping through the night yet, or horrible naps or whatever, and they don't know how to fix it, that's when they come to me. But a regression typically lasts around a month. I mean, it can be less than that. It can be more than that. But if you're seeing consistent, issues with your kid's sleep, and it's been more than 2 weeks, going on 3, it's probably a new habit that we need to address, or a schedule tweak we need to make.
Yeah. Are there themes in how parents intervene on their own before they come to you?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't invent sleep training.
Right.
There are tons of books, and some parents want to read all the books and can do it on their own. Where I come in is kind of like, you can work out on your own. Some people need a personal trainer. View me as a personal training for your kid's sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm accountability, I'm support, I'm guidance. You're this nap went to shit. Okay, let's figure out how to make the next one better in real time.
Yeah.
The books all tell you what to do. You can find your method that works. There's a million sleep consultants out there. Find the one that you vibe with best, that you feel like kind of meets your values or whatever it may be. Did I answer that question?
It's okay.
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Here, are there themes in like behaviors that the kids are displaying to like avoid sleep?
Toddlers, yeah.
Yeah, what are they?
Anyone who has a toddler has seen it. They all do it. My kids
stall
do it.
Tactics.
My 5-year-old is currently going through this, and we just hold that firm sleep boundary, but it's not like my kids don't go through regressions. It's not like they don't have issues with stalling. All children do it. It's just a matter of how you handle it. So, I mean, anywhere from I need to go potty, I need more water, the light's not bright enough, the light's too dark. They can come up with anything in, like, I need one more book, whatever it may be. And a parent can handle it however they want to, but if they don't know how to handle it, I can help guide them through that.
So a lot of this is about the parent.
I'm not training the kid.
Right?
The kid's ready to sleep.
Yes.
I'm training the parent.
It's the parent.
I'm like, the baby can't read the sleep plan.
Right.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm training you.
Yeah.
And like the parent's own anxieties and like stressors.
100%. A lot of parents just need me to tell them they're going to be okay.
Yes.
You're going to be okay.
Yep.
And
you're going to be better.
Watch in 2 days. Your house will be different. You'll be more rested. You're going to be a better parent, a more patient parent. They're going to be happier. Like, all the things fall into place when everyone starts sleeping better.
Okay, can I ask a question,
Yeah.
Jessica?
Oh.
Tell us.
Jessica's hogging me.
She's just, she's a talker. I got to get my words in. Okay, so tell us why sleep is so important in kids.
Oh, well, I mean, y'all could answer that better.
I know, but I want you to answer
Okay.
This is what happens when she asks questions.
Yeah, let me put on my medical hat.
Yeah.
I can make it up. I mean,
go for it, girl.
Okay. I think sleep affects behavior hugely.
I agree.
I think sleep affects, just in general mood. So especially me personally, if I don't get sleep, I am mean, I'm cranky, I'm irritable, can't even go into like, I make poor diet decisions the next day. I'm like, I'm tired. I want a bag of Doritos instead of a salad, whatever. And kids do the same thing. And then they kind of get stuck in this cycle where they're eating a bunch of snacks and a bunch of crap and a bunch of sugar, and in order to make themselves feel better because they're so tired, which then affects their sleep. They can't go to sleep because they've had, all the sugar and caffeine and whatever. So yeah, I just think it affects everything.
Yeah.
Well, and if the kid's not sleeping,
you're not
grown-ups
sleeping.
not sleeping.
Yeah.
Probably some siblings are not sleeping.
Right. And then also, more school age kids, it affects their
ability to focus,
retain
information.
They're falling asleep in class sometimes.
Yeah.
And in my intake for the older kids, I'm like, does your kid randomly just fall asleep places? Does your kid, have you been told they're having issues with paying attention or whatever?
Is there normally a correlation, like with the older ones, I guess? Like, are there any older kids that come in and it's solely a sleep issue at home, or like, is it affecting school too in some way? Like maybe not falling asleep in class, but like behavior wise.
Right. So, and another question I always ask is, have they been diagnosed with any kind of like ADHD, autism disorder, spectrum disorder, anything like that? Because I need to know and take all that into account, because typically an ADHD kid might be on a stimulant medication.
Yeah.
And I need to know all that information beforehand. Like, are you giving them Benadryl, melatonin, anything like that? Like, I have to know that stuff.
I mean, this is a you question. Like, if a kid is taking like extended release, whatever milligrams of extended release Vyvanse, and they're giving it at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, how long would that usually and it depends on the kid.
Yeah.
But it does.
Fine. I know it does, but like 7 to 7.
Okay, so let me give you a personal example.
Okay, give me a personal example.
If I take an immediate release stimulant, which is only supposed to last 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
If I take it past like 7 a.m., I cannot sleep that night, which is
crazy.
Pharmacologically, biologically speaking, does not make sense. And if a patient told me that, I would say,
liar.
Nope, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I have
But that's great
lived it.
Yeah, you've lived it. Yeah.
So I can say it truly depends on your personal metabolism. So like, I can't take an extended release stimulant at all. I just can't, because I literally will not sleep for 24 hours.
So then what do you, so you do have the kid that's like you.
Right.
So sensitive, I guess is the right word, to medication. What do you do?
So it's like a pros and cons analysis. Like, how badly does the kid need medication? Like, how bad is whatever this disorder is, probably ADHD if we're talking about a stimulant. Like, how bad is it? How much is it impairing their functioning? Is it to the level that they really need medication support?
Right.
If it is, then we got to figure out, okay, how do we mitigate the side effects?
Which is like sleep deprivation, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like inability to sleep.
I always tell parents, like, if a kid is not sleeping, there is no point in giving them a stimulant, because you're just like negating the effects, right?
So like 5-year-old. How much sleep does a 5-year-old need?
It's
typically
anywhere from 10 hours to some kids still need 12.
Okay. So let's say the kid who takes the extended release Vyvanse, whatever, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they sleep 8 hours. Like, is that sufficient?
Yeah, it can be, but I mean, most 5-year-olds still need at least 10 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Right. So then it's like, what do you do though?
But there are some lower sleep need kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, yes, sometimes, and like, any kid on the autism spectrum are lower sleep need kids.
Yeah.
So we can't expect them to sleep 7 to 7. They just won't.
Why do you think that is?
They're just so special and so wired, so great.
Yeah. Yeah. They just don't need it. Okay.
And they need help. Like, they're the only kid that I say, yes, give that kid a melatonin. They don't produce it the same way typical kids do.
Oh, okay.
We still say typical kids.
Neurotypical.
Neurotypical.
Yeah,
it's falling, y'all.
Yeah.
It's not me.
It's not you.
It's
no,
all
it's
the
not your fault.
wind
got
in
a
the room.
loose mic arm.
Okay, so wait, can you talk to us about that? Supplements.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
Your own professional opinion.
Yeah.
My own professional opinion is no child needs melatonin.
Okay.
Oh, you talked about Go ahead. Sorry.
No child needs it.
Yeah.
Any child that is exposed to the sun at all throughout the day can get it supplied to them naturally in their own body.
You get it by the sun?
Yep. It's
What?
a hormone.
I thought it was vitamin D from the sun.
It's a hormone that your brain produces when it's exposed to sunlight. So it sets your natural circadian rhythm into cycle. So when the best way to produce it is early morning sun and evening sun. So if you can get them outside for a couple minutes in the morning, a little morning play, and then
just put it. It needs to be like close to you.
just hold it.
Just hold
so gently.
Cradle that mic.
I'm going to cradle the mic. And then in the evening, like get them to play either before or after dinner. The summer's so easy. You can play after dinner and get a little extra energy out. They will produce enough melatonin to get them to bed. I think the supplement market has completely, told us that we need magnesium, we need melatonin, we need whatever. But anyone that is outside a little bit and eats a well-balanced diet does not need magnesium or melatonin to sleep.
Okay. I'm going to bring this up in every episode, but how do screens interfere with melatonin release and circadian rhythm?
100%. So when you're on a screen, you're taking in blue light, which blocks your receptors to that natural sunlight and all of those. I think it's like an amber color that helps produce melatonin. So it's going to affect it, yes, especially if you're watching screens right before bed. A lot of times with my older kids, I'll say, we need to, screen time, of course, like you need to survive being a parent and let your child watch a screen. Like I'm not going to take away screen time, but let's pay attention to how much they're watching it, when they're watching it, and what they're watching. Because a lot of these sleep deprived kids are also up with night terrors and nightmares.
Yeah.
When they're overtired, they're going to have night terrors and nightmares. And it might be especially for like a 3-year-old, it might be silly. You watched like Goldilocks and the bears, but their imaginations are so wild when they're little that nice friendly bear can turn real mean in the middle of the night when they're sleep deprived. So you just kind of have to pay attention to the books you're reading them. Even if there's any kind of character that might turn scary, just until they're well rested, let's keep everything like light and happy.
Yeah.
But the screen times, can greatly affect the kid's ability to fall asleep.
Okay, so a lot of parents and kids will ask me about blue light filtering glasses.
Okay.
And my response is always, because I don't want to say,
it can't be the Band-Aid.
That's great. Do that and then you're fine. You're going to sleep fine. So my response is normally that might help some, but you probably are still going to have some sleep issues. Do you know if am I giving the right answer or not?
I know personally, when I use the blue light glasses, my eyes are less tired and I have less of a headache at the end of the day because I'm on my computer and my phone a lot.
Yeah.
So personally, yes, I think it helps with that. But as far as, no, I wouldn't give, I agree with that because it's like a blanket statement of here's the Band-Aid. Now your kid can watch as much screen time as you want. Right. No. If you have a day where you're traveling and you need your kid to be on screen all day long, sure, give them the blue light glasses. Maybe it'll help some. But don't give them the glasses and then say free reign on screen time because, no, it's still going to affect them.
Right, right. Okay. What are some other common things that you see that interfere with sleep in kids besides screens, besides parents being tired and stressed? What are some other common problems?
I mean, so the biggest thing that we always look at is a sleep association. So especially with babies and younger toddlers, what are they associating that they need to have to fall asleep? So if it's anything external, like mom has to scratch my back until I fall asleep, or I need, a screen or whatever it may be to fall asleep, we have to look at those factors and that's where the puzzle piece comes in. I'm like, okay, well, you're sitting or you're laying in bed with them until they fall asleep. Therefore, it's not their responsibility to put them to sleep. So they have no independent sleep skills, which is what you need to be a good sleeper. Right. And it's a lifelong skill. So, a lot of people, I remember going to college and having a roommate that needed the TV to fall asleep. I'm like, what do you mean? And those things carry on into adulthood. And so if we can teach our kids independent, healthy sleep habits and skills when they're young, they're set up for success for their lives.
And it's all the same. It's just self-soothing. How do you self-soothe? Yeah. In life, you don't want to grow a child that needs something external to be able to make themselves feel better.
Yes.
Right. You're not always going to be around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You want them to be able to regulate, problem solve, all of that stuff 100%. Independently and be I'm enough to soothe. I can figure it out.
Yeah. So most of these kids that aren't sleeping well are looking for external things from the parent or an object or whatever it may be. And it can be healthy if it's a pillow or a blanket or a lovey or something like that they can, okay, it's time to go to bed. Let me rub on the ear of my bunny.
Rhodes has that. Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
When it's something that they can't, grab in the middle of the night and they need you or something else to come in and help bring it back to go back to sleep, that's when it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what I try to tell parents, and what I always would try to tell myself when I was in those deep, dark moments of having a newborn.
We've all been there.
Yep.
Being, for the majority of it, by myself, because my husband was working out of town and I was working my tail off. So please, listeners, know that I have been there. Is that like, I always thought about like, I am so tired and I'm so stressed right now, and it's very easy to just like do the easy thing,
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
get in bed with them.
Yep.
But I am trying to avoid the problem that's 6 months away, 2 years away, 10 years away, right? Yep. Because I guess I have like, and you do too, all of us have the benefit of like seeing those kids who are 9 and they can't sleep independently.
Correct.
And that is so much harder to correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I would say 75% of my caseload, that's not why they see me, but that is like
also
a
in the
symptom,
mix.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's part, anyways, it's all connected. But like, if I didn't have or like know about like a sleep consultant,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drowning. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like,
Well, and then also the problem is, yes, like, again, like the books are out there, but who, especially when you're tired, has time to read an entire damn book? Like,
someone
let
just
me do your
produce
book.
a plan.
Yeah.
And
like,
I'll just tell you, do this,
tell me
this,
what
and
to do.
this.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you in the morning. See
Yeah.
how it
Cliff
went.
Notes.
Yeah,
Cliff Notes first.
I just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any like parental reactions that are thematic that you see to like when kids use tactics to avoid sleep?
What do you mean?
Like, I want to read another book. Oh, can I have one more kiss? Oh, can I? Like how the parents react to that?
Well, I mean, I'm not in the room, but they tell me that they'll be like, I've tried, just saying no. Or I think the problem is it always escalates.
Yeah.
Like we all have had those moments all the time with our kids of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting you another goddamn glass of water.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you explode, then they explode. And we all start building on each other.
Yeah.
And it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And everyone's crying. And everyone's screaming. So, yes, I think it's usually, and then they'll message me at 3 a.m. like, oh my God, my kid's up again. Like, let's talk tomorrow. I'm like, I'm here. So like a common reaction is just parents giving in.
Like accommodating.
Like just
Rescuing,
giving in.
accommodating.
Or getting to the point where like now you've been screaming at your kid for an hour. They're worked up.
Yeah.
No one's going to sleep anytime soon. And so just finding that middle ground of like holding the boundary, being calm about it, and having some, back pocket strategies.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Do you have a most common like age range of kids that you see?
Yes. Yes and no. Like lately, it kind of like cycles through. Lately, I've had a ton of 4-month-olds, and I
Interesting.
love that age.
Wait, why? Why do you think that is?
Because they get out of the newborn stage and they're like, aren't they supposed to be sleeping by now?
Yeah.
Like the book said, 12 hours by 12 weeks. Loved that book though.
Yeah.
Isn't that Mom's on Call?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't care. Keep going.
But yeah, Mom's on Call, same thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, why isn't it working? My kid's broken. I'm like, no, they're not.
Fix it.
And then I get the intake form. I'm like, oh, that's it.
What is it?
It can be anything.
Well, what are some examples?
It's external things, and they don't even notice that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I need some examples.
Okay. Rocking to sleep still. Or like this whole drowsy but awake. That's not a thing. It's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
If you put your child to bed drowsy but awake,
I don't even know what the
you've
fuck that
already
is.
gotten them halfway there. So they're
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
using
that's
you
true.
or
Yeah.
something
Correct.
else to fall
To
asleep.
learn that skill. Yeah.
And so I always tell people, that's why I also got the newborn certification, because I hated newborn life with my first, and I was like, it was like stolen from me. And I want people to enjoy it because it is awesome. It really can be awesome. And I loved it with my girls, my next two.
Yeah.
Because I could appreciate for what it is and see the light at the end of the tunnel of like, this will end.
Yep.
So appreciate them for what they are. Like this is the easiest, or it can be the easiest. If you just give yourself some grace, give them some grace and more flexibility.
So like what are some other, rocking to sleep.
Rocking to sleep, a lot, not a lot, but sometimes we need to get rid of the pacifier for a little bit so that if they are like so passy dependent to fall asleep, I'm pro passy, and there's a lot of sleep consultants out there that are like, needs to be gone by 4 months.
Okay, why? Like what is their rationale?
Because it's an external thing that they're using.
Right.
And
But they can use their thumb.
right. That's what they want. They're saying get rid of the passy so that they find their fingers or like roll to their side or whatever. I say if it's a baby that is very passy dependent, yes, let's get rid of it during sleep training. You can introduce it back if you need to, but until they can replace it on their own, like around 6-8 months, it isn't serving them well for sleeping. Yeah. So we need to get rid of it.
How do you know
feeding to sleep is another very common one.
Yeah.
Nursing to sleep, stuff like that.
Okay, I had a question about, are you seeing any changes over time as far, I don't know how long you've been doing this, how long you've like been doing your own company with sleep consultation, but are you seeing any changes over time and like problems that are coming up with parents dealing with babies, sleep problems?
Not really.
It's pretty consistent over time.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, I know what my other question was. Okay, I thought of it. All right. Is there any pattern as far as like referrals for firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn, et cetera, child birth order?
Oh, birth order. Yes. I have a lot of like third kids.
Oh,
really? A lot.
I'm not surprised.
It's going to be firstborns.
Well, yeah. But
yeah, a lot of firstborns, sure.
Okay.
But then a lot of subsequent kids because moms tried everything. And these are my later kids. These are my like 12, 15-month-olds because mom's like, I don't understand. I've tried everything. This is my third. I thought I had it this down by now. And I love working with those too because I'm like, yeah, every kid's different. And that's why these personalized plans are so great. Yeah. Because I can tell you, this kid's temperament and whatever. And typically by a third kid, they have to be more flexible. They're on the go. Yeah. We can't give them, 4 crib naps a day like we can our first where we're just stuck. Yeah. So we need to figure out a schedule that works. And a lot of books are like, it has to be at this time. Well, I have to pick up from daycare at this time for your older brother. So we need to figure out a schedule that works around our family.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Are you seeing, are there a lot of referrals for sleep issues that already like have a diagnosis of something?
I've had a couple of those, not that many, because I think I've had a lot of like, I do a free consult phone call, and I've had a couple where they've talked to me, but then they don't follow through and buy the plan because I feel like a lot of people with kids, with any kind of previous diagnosis are thinking, well, this is just our lives and this is just part of it. And
like learned helplessness kind of,
maybe. Or I think they've just been told in their like mom groups of whatever diagnosis it is, yeah, our kids don't sleep. And
like ADHD? No. Is it like
ADHD, autism?
Yeah. Okay, those are the two.
Yeah, a lot of the moms I've talked to with kids with autism are just kind of like, well, maybe we'll try this one more thing I heard. Or like, I just heard, autistic kids don't sleep. And I'm like, well, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
They can.
And not like every child diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder looks the same.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like, especially not necessarily older kids, but like a child with autism, would thrive with sleep training.
Loves that structure, schedule, routine, consistency.
What? I have a bedtime chart. I get to put a sticker on there, and if I stay in my bed all night long, I can do that. Yeah. I think they would.
It's predictable.
Love it. Yes.
And all kids, diagnosis or not, thrive when their lives are predictable routine and consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So. Yeah, I want to shout that from the mountaintops. Yeah, don't think that your kid is too far gone at any stage. At any stage. You can always restart.
Reset. Hit the reset button.
Yeah.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So insightful.
This is so fun.
Tell all the people where to find you, all the things.
Oh, I look in the camera?
Oh, yeah, sure.
My website is easysleeptraining.com.
Spell it.
Z as in zebra.
Because people be saying easy like I'm easy,
Yeah. Okay, so the letters. My name is Elizabeth Zarzour. It's my initials. EasySleepTraining.com. My Instagram is e.z.sleep. Easy sleep. And
give her a follow, y'all. Thanks so much for being on the Little Brain Campaign podcast.
Very fun.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support means the world to us.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, hit up the Little Brain Campaign on social media. Until next time, keep those little brains growing. This podcast is for informational purposes only. There is no one-size-fits-all. Always consult with a qualified professional for personalized support.